The PT's been feisty recently there, bros,
Towards
feisty.
you?
No, just like he's got, something to say. A little opinion, a little juice, a little piss and vinegar.
PT? An opinion?
Yeah, right? I mean, it's like a new PT.
I love it.
Let's bring him in to the Boardwalk Honda Hotline here on the Sports Bash. The opinionated one. Peter?
It's Michael Rhodes. It's pretty hard not to have an opinion when the team that you grew up rooting for and that you love pisses it down their leg and just plays awful in the entire second half. It's pretty hard not to have an opinion.
Yeah, well,
I'd have to have no pulse not to have an opinion.
Let's get your opinion on our poll question today. We'll update the poll question here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN at 97.3 ESPN. Get on over there and vote, as many of you have. If the Eagles removed one guy, Doug Peterson or Carson Wentz, who should it be? And just an FYI, it's just a question that came up in conversation. No one's asking for either to be gone. Right now, it's 60-40. Who's the PT voting for?
I heard you when you brought it up. I heard when Hunter accidentally stumbled across the question, you're like, I think that could be a good poll question. It's got to be Peterson because – you're right. I mean, just go look at the, Achilles
Peterson
of the
Peterson
world.
Stays or Peterson goes?
Peterson goes, right. Because the question is phrased, if you moved on from one guy, which guy is it? Doug Peterson is who you'd have to move on from. I mean, even though both guys are in my sights right now because I thought some of Peterson's play calls were awful, and I thought Carson Wentz held onto the ball too long and was at least responsible for at least 2 of the 8 sacks. I just think he tries to extend the play. But, again, franchise quarterbacks don't grow on trees. Look at teams. Look at Denver right now. Denver keeps rotating through quarterbacks, hoping that they can finally find a guy. It's almost comical when you look at the Broncos and think about the fact that that's like their goalie situation with the Flyers. Flyers only had a couple goalies. Well, thank God they finally have one. Well, you don't find franchise quarterbacks that easily. And even though Wentz has regressed from his MVP-ish season, he certainly is not completely to blame. And I say that, putting him in my sights. I put a Facebook post up after the game, almost immediately after the game, saying that I blamed Wentz and I blamed Doug Peterson for some of the play calling, and people were – the reaction was crazy. I mean, I just didn't think there were – and the number of people that jumped immediately with, well, they didn't come out for the national anthem, so I didn't watch. Okay, this was a football question, people. I didn't ask you to attack my Facebook page with your political rant. If you want to talk politics, go to a political page. I'm asking a sports question. It's sports.
So I want to get your opinion on something I asked Andrew DeCecco. If I name you the offensive line, Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson, how would you order that in, how did you view the problems? Who would you blame first in those 3?
I would go O-line first. I would go Peterson probably second, Wentz third. The O-line, and again, I mean, were we buying that hill of beans then that Matt Pryor was a completely worthy player because all of a sudden he's worthy, but he's not worthy to start? Like, where did these guys come from? I mean, God bless Jack Driscoll and Nate Herbig, but when that tweet came out, when the inactives were out at 11:30, and you're like, wait, what? Like, who's going to be starting on this side of the line? I had to scratch my head, and then so I would go probably. That order that I said, I would go the O-line first. I mean, they were set up to fail. You had guys that were inexperienced against what was their strength. And, to anybody that would listen, I kept reminding them, like, look, when I talked to you guys on Friday, I said, that's my biggest concern, that, what the Redskins do well, the Eagles are going to have problems with. And, not only did they have problems with it, but then, the reason you put Doug in second is because that he kept trying to go for stuff that was long developing. I mean, did they ever try to roll Carson Wentz out and maybe get away from some of that pursuit? Did they ever try to just go for a quick out pattern? I mean, I know they had some screens batted down, but my God, the definition of insanity is doing something over and over and over again. And they would call these long developing pass plays and then wonder why Carson Wentz ended up on his ass.
Yeah, I guess, but
and you're
Wentz,
calling a play that takes too long.
I agree, like they're playing in the play design for some of the stuff, but Wentz did not play well.
100%. I mean, he doesn't get excused either. I mean, and Wentz was probably there were people coming back at me trying to say it's not Wentz's fault. The line was brutal. Well, that's still. I mean, my biggest pet peeve with Carson Wentz is that you can't go for the hero play every time. I think it was like either Mike Sielski was in my head or I was in his, because his column the next day was all about young Brett Favre, where they have Mike Holmgren going, throw it away, throw it away, throw it away, and then Brett Favre throws a pick. That's what we're seeing out of Carson Wentz right now. He's trying to hold on to the football. He's trying to make a play, and like, dude, there's times where you have to chuck that thing away and live to fight another day. And the interception before the half changed the complexion of the whole game.
Yeah, well, and a little bit of that too. I mean, Doug says, "Look, I'm always going to be aggressive." You know, there's times and places you don't always have to be aggressive. I talked about this yesterday, PT. If you like driving 60 miles an hour, you can't drive 60 in a 25. You're going to get pulled over. You know what I mean? Even though you prefer to drive faster, there are times to drive faster, and there are times that you got to follow the rules and slow it down. You got to know like the situation of the game, and it's like, well, I'm always going to be aggressive. Well, you can't drive 60 in a 25 all the time.
100%, and I mean that to me is an arrogant Doug answer of like, I'm not going to change the way I am. Hey, buddy, nobody's asking you not to call Philly again, or nobody's asking you not to be aggressive at the right time. But God bless it, in that situation, they're 3rd and 3. The same play where the ball went through Ertz's hand on 4th and 3, if you're on that play on 3rd and 3, then there never is a 4th and 3. He probably catches it. You don't set yourself up in that. Instead, on 3rd and 3, they try to go 25 yards down the field to Deshaun, who for whatever reason was in the game and not in the game, and we're trying to save him. Save him for what? Like,
right.
One of your top guys, put him out there.
What did you think about Zach Ertz dropping the pass after we hear rumors that there was some sort of heated conversation between him and Howie Roseman?
Yeah, I mean, yes, there was probably an argument. Look, Zach Ertz is human, right? Happy Gilmore is human, right? I mean, look, again, my take on the whole Zach Ertz thing is that he's been your most reliable guy. He's been your go-to guy. He didn't drop the pass because he's worried about his contract situation. He dropped the pass because he's human and you drop a pass. But it wouldn't have been highlighted or out that much if it's on 3rd down, not on 4th down. Because it was in 4th down, that was just basically almost like, okay, Washington football team, here, we'll just give you another short field again. I mean, the aggressiveness, 2 4th down attempts, 0 conversions. That's on Doug for going for it.
I definitely liked what they did to start the game. A lot of quick stuff. Goddard was having a great, series. They had the touchdown pass to Ertz. You had a couple of short stuff out of the backfield and got it to playmaker. I don't know why they don't stick with that. Let Rieger catch the ball underneath. Let him make some moves. Same with Jackson, bubble screens, short stuff, and then take your shots down the field. It was like they set it up, and then it was like, we set it up, so now we have to go deep, but the deep didn't work. Well, we got to keep doing it until it does work. And total stubbornness and frustration. That's why Peterson was number 1 on my list of why. It was Peterson, Wentz, and then that offensive line. They were up 17-0 with that offensive line, and Casey Joyner yesterday astutely pointed out, Peter, that they were up 17-0, and Wentz had been sacked 4 times already. So yeah, the line was not great, but they had a lead with that line.
Yeah, that does, I'm not changing my ranking since I have to defend the one that I already picked. And the O-line is the thing, like, that's the juicy story. 8 sacks, and the first time they've had that many sacks since the Winston Justice game. I was going back and looking at that and thinking, my God, I remember that game where Winston Justice got used like a turnstile by OCU Manura. That's what it felt like at times in the second half. And then you just get this confluence of events where, boy, when you're going good, you're going good. And unfortunately, when you're going bad, you're going really bleep. I mean, that one sack where it wasn't on the line at all. I mean, it was whoever was the running back, he broke out to the left, and then John Bostic comes in and just manhandles Carson. Look, anybody unblocked in the NFL is going to get to the quarterback. And that's communication issues, and that's just brain farts, quite frankly.
All right, better than PT farts, I can tell you that much. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. We'll get Peter back for Happy Hour Friday for his thoughts on the Eagles and Rams game. But first, level of interest in the Phillies' Final 14.
Well, like morbid curiosity. I mean, they pissed me off so much in the
Morbid
Miami
curiosity.
series.
They're the number one wild card team right now. It's amazing. People that just
you lose some buzz when you lose 5 of 7 to the Marlins. It's like, oh, come on, and the injuries,
right? And the fact that the lineup is like watching paint dry if they're missing their two best hitters. If Real Muto isn't in there and Hoskins isn't in there, you just sit there and think, like, I mean, look at yesterday's game. You sit there and go, all right, Kutch, got him on the board. And then you're like, next? Okay, step up, table for one. Anybody want to hit? It just, I looked at, I got home, I got in the chair, I turned the fire on the TV. I'm looking, I'm like, oh, the Phillies. I see the Phillies are up 1-1 or it's or 1-0 or it's tied 1-1. I'm like, okay. I switch to something else. I go back and I look, it's 4-1. I'm sorry. It's like that girlfriend that just keeps teasing you, won't let you do it. Dang it! Start doing something. I mean, I get so mad at this team.
I never had that issue.
Wow.
You gave me nothing.
You ever get teased too much? It never happened, Gil?
sounds like Pete's alone on this one.
Once.
Yeah, it's probably those farts.
Yeah, don't fart as much, Pete.
Listen, Bruns, I got to figure out how you lost in fantasy football to a professional hockey player, a guy that doesn't know yet anything about other than Coos and puck.
Miles Sanders didn't play, and Marlon Mack tore his he has an Achilles injury, and that's what happened. Boom, you lose.
Oh, that's true. That's good for me, though. I have that backup in Indianapolis, and he's on my bench. And by the way, I had the double bubble. I listened to – hey, Pasquino reached out to me via Twitter the other day. I love Jeff Pasquino. I have the double bubble of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, so I definitely won my week.
All right. Well, that wasn't the conversation. What about that fart you just talked about?
Yeah. No. I mean, I guess if we're just playing free-form radio, we can go to any topic anytime, but not my ass, please. Thanks.
Oh, jeez. All right. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Hey, by the way, did you see Peter Laviolette got another job? What's this, like 15 teams for him?
I was excited for Jam. Come on, Peter. Look, I like the guy. I think that he usually comes in with fire and brimstone. And I heard Hunter talking about listening to that behind-the-scenes thing when they played the outdoor game. He'll go in, and his job is to get him past the hump. I mean, now they had a Hall of Fame coach that got him past the hump, and then they didn't pay him. So that's why Barry Trotz is coaching with the Islanders now. But, that's his job. I like Lavi. I liked when he was with the Flyers. I thought he had that uncanny use of the timeout, so I wish him the best, except for when they play the Orange and Black.
Are you still paying attention to the Stanley Cup playoffs?
You read my mind, Gil.
You know what? I'm paying attention to them enough to know that the Islanders have run into a better team known as Tampa, and that Dallas is through. I mean, am I watching the games? No, I'm not. I'm not spending 3 hours watching a game without my team. I might watch a finals game or two until, I'll probably have a better chance of watching that than I will this stinking Phillies team that teases me.
Wow.
Might watch a finals game or two. I mean, that's Stanley Cup. You got to be watching every game, PT.
Hey, PT has lesson plans now. I mean, I got to grow up. Let's see here. McCutcheon, Harper, Bohm, Gregorius, Segura, Kingery, Knapp, Garlic, Quinn.
Is that today?
Marietta. Do you know? Yeah, it just came out. Do you know that today a guy at my school said that it's a matchup of two Cy Young winners tonight, and I had a hard time figuring out who the Mets Cy Young winner was.
Well, who's the Phillies Cy Young winner?
Jake Arrieta. He was a former Cy Young winner.
Yeah, you're right. I totally forgot about that.
And Rick Porcello is the other side.
Yeah, Porcello did win the Cy Young. How about that? Remember that? Hey, Porcello was like 19 years old when he got into the league. He was like and then he had a Cy Young somewhere back there, and man, he stinks out loud now. By the way, Wilson Ramos behind the plate smells like he's awful back there. You got to steal all over him tonight.
No doubt. You can steal on him left and right. I could probably steal on him.
Yeah, you got to just steal.
Is there a bet on that? Can I put some money down on that?
Yeah, how many stolen bases will the Phillies have tonight? Yep, how many stolen bases will they have tonight? That's what you got to see. He stinks back there, Ramos. He stinks.
I wonder if Josh could steal on him. Josh and I had a debate on the air one. He thinks he could beat me in a race.
In a foot
I
race?
think Josh could beat you in a deadlift. I don't know if he could beat you in a running race.
I've never seen Josh run before.
Well, he claims he could beat me in a race.
I saw Hunter run. He ran in my backyard that day. Were you there, Pete?
No, I talk about athletes. I don't necessarily do it.
No, were you there? You were there the day that they raced.
No. Oh, yeah, I do remember that race now that you bring it up. And you asked me to race, and I was like, what, are you kidding me?
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you Friday.
That was fun. Thanks, guys.
Yep, see you.